Appreciate
glad
it.
to have you back. And Greg Hunter will start off our questions.
So Rick, just start with coming back. Does it feel like you've gone 10 minutes or 20 years? And how quickly to get you back into the flow?
I turned 78 yesterday, so a lot of things are flying by right now, Greg. So, but no, it's good. When college football was changing so much here in the last 3 or 4 years, I didn't know if it was a good fit for me to be up on this level or not, and everything. And I really enjoyed it. The 3 years I was there with Coach Rodriguez at Jack State, and I really liked Jack State. I mean, I had a great time there and great people and stuff. So, but I'm from West Virginia, and just felt like after talking with Coach, I felt like, we need to come back and get this thing right.
What is it like coming back, not only here, but you get to coach with 2 of your sons, and you got to coach with Clint last season, but what's it like?
Well, that's not everything it's all cracked up to be. They had to separate me and Clint about 3 or 4 times last year and stuff. So, but Trav's a little different personality, but it's fun. It's not bad. I enjoy it. I just come to work and do my job. If they're involved in something I'm doing, then I have it. Like Clint, he was the offensive coordinator, so he thought he was my boss last year. That didn't fly. So Charlie made me assistant head coach so I could tell him, But it was fun. We had a lot of good times. But there were some intense times too and stuff. So, personalities, So, but it's good, and then I'm looking forward to getting these kids better right now.
What's the difference between an offensive lineman now than 20 years ago when you were for first year?
Nothing, as far as if you approach it the way you approached it 20 years ago, So I mean, they're bigger and stronger, They're bigger, probably faster, and things, but. I don't know. I think times have changed, and the things around these kids have changed a lot. But all the competitors and the good kids that want to be great and want to play hard and do that, I don't see any difference. Matter of fact, some of these guys are more hungry right now, and I haven't changed. From then to now, I've altered a few things and stuff, but I'm still going to demand them out of them what we demanded out of them in the past, and I think that's the biggest issue. They haven't had that until they get to a certain program, and then, but if they really love football and they want to play football, most of them, the cream will come to the top.
You mentioned the game has changed. Is there a willing or just a desire to make a difference in players? Is that still big with you?
My whole thing's about taking a kid that couldn't do this or couldn't do that, and I coached him, and then all of a sudden I see it. I see it being done. And I just love coaching. I've coached after Florida State. I went to Glenville State just to coach for 3 years, and then I went to Jacksonville State, and I was at Auburn, and Terry quit, and there wasn't many jobs in '96, I think, or '97, one of them years in there, or '99 maybe, and there wasn't many jobs, and hell, I went from assistant head coach at Auburn to coach at Glenville, and then went to assistant head coach at LSU, all within about 8 months. So I'm just going to coach. If I had to go over and coach, St. Francis Catholic, I'd go over and coach him. I just love coaching.
You got it backwards. You went to the cold weather instead of the warm weather.
Yeah, well, I got initiated on that winter up here this year now. I cleaned my truck down at Jack State, had it all waxed up and everything. I rode up here and went up to visit my brother in Preston County, and, man, I got up there and, whew, couldn't even recognize it. But yeah, I got initiated on the cold weather again, but that's not bad. I like the seasons. I like 4 seasons.
What is it about Rich's offense that's unique compared to others? Is it anything, or is it just we got to do it better than others?
I think with the tempo and the things that he has designed and execution, I think execution is big. And I know it's big with him, and it's big for me. But I think that nowadays, I don't know if kids can go at a certain pace. You know, we would wear people down at Jack State, and we'll wear them down next year, and we'll wear them down stuff because the players would come out of the game and tell us, hey, they're done, you know. And but I think when you spread the field, wide-wise, and then we go vertical, and then you still got he's always been successful, you know, when you can really run the football. And that's anybody. If you can run the football, we can do anything we want to do. We can throw screens, we can throw drop back, we can do whatever. If you can't run the ball, long day in bedrock, man, I'm telling you now. I mean, you know, it's when they know you can't run the football, they're going to tee up and come after you.
This is just a general question. Do you think wisdom is valued in football today?
Wisdom?
Experience and wisdom. I mean, you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah. I don't think some of these young coaches, I've been around quite a few young coaches, and I think I know we had one down there, and he was getting chewed out a lot about a certain thing on defensive back. So I got on the internet, or I didn't get on the internet, I got on YouTube and found Nick Saban coaching corners. And so I ran it off and sent it to him. He come in there all huffy the next morning. I said, he said, what are you trying to say? I don't know what I'm doing. I said, well, you're getting your ass chewed out every day. Maybe you don't know what you're doing. No. So he come back about a day or two later, apologized to me and stuff. But, I mean, I've always been one, like, when I got to Glenville or Jack State, and they didn't have any boards, I went to the hardware store and got boards. You know, I mean, you know, I've always found an answer to the solution and stuff. And that's one thing that the older Rich gets and the older I get, I see a lot. I know exactly where he's coming from now, where I think maybe some of these young guys are not quite sure.
Well, I ask this because, you know, today we hear a lot about analytics and we hear all these different things, and you don't really like judgment or your eyes, you know, or things that you see from experience.
Well, that's a good point. I think the biggest thing where the eyes that everybody is in recruiting. I think people have totally lost it in recruiting. You know, I don't need some guy that's never even played football that's on there to tell me that I need to be recruiting this guy because he's a 5-star. You know, I trust my eyes on recruiting, and I really want to meet the kid. You know, I'm a slow trigger. I mean, we had 6 or 7 of them in there on junior day, and I didn't offer any of them on junior day. But then I turned around after meeting them about a week or so later and offered 4 or 5 of them. But I think somebody goes out and makes offers and don't even know the kid, don't know anything about him, don't know his background, don't know, you know, if he's a good guy, bad guy, and does he fit what we want to do? Can he take hard coaching and all that? No, I run an FBI check on him, you know, and I think you got to trust your eyes. And then, you know, of course, I've seen a lot of good players and I've had a lot of great players. So I think my age has helped me. I can compare this guy. He's like a Rodney Hudson, or this guy's like Willie Anderson was, or Landon Dickerson and stuff. So, you know, so I don't think it's like it used to be. No, you know, but I think we've created that ourselves as adults.
What about, this is the stats, this is what you do, you know, you see.
Oh, that's over my pay grade. That's what the head coach gets paid for. I don't. Okay. Them analytical? Yeah. No. Yeah. I can sit there and tell you if we're blocking them pretty good in the 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, we might want to go for it. You know, if they're big, they're kicking our ass. No, I punt it, you know, stuff. So it could go 3 or 4 ways.
Yeah, so that goes back to the eyes
players that you're
experience.
seeing come in now from high school and even maybe from junior college. Are they as fundamentally skilled in some of the things that you're looking for, or is there more teaching?
I think they're a lot stronger. I think they're a lot more trained on certain things, but basic fundamental football, no, I don't think. I don't think the coaching that's you know, certain parts of the country maybe, you know, and probably gonna get in trouble on that one, but I don't see the fundamental. I don't see the teaching going on, you know, at the schools when I go around sometimes. You know, like stance. You know, I'm big on stance and first step, hat placement, and all those kind of things, and hands, and I don't think it's talked about enough. You know, we're always worrying about, you know, the recruiting, and you're always talking about this and stuff. I can remember when I was a young coach, you had to get up in front of the whole staff and the head coach, and you had to, every time before we started spring ball and before we started the fall, and I had to teach every block that I was going to teach. I had to teach every pass set, everything that I was going to teach, every drill, and I had to do it in front of the whole staff. And I thought that made us a lot better coaches, because when the defensive coach got up and I learned what he was teaching, I could say, okay, now maybe I need to do this, make me a little bit better, you know, and stuff. So there's not much of that going on right now.
Rick, what do you think of this group that you have now? Positives and negatives of what you're working with?
I'm pleased. You know, you bring guys in out of the portal, and you know, they come from different programs and stuff, and I've only got 2 of them out there that really know what I really, really want and how far we got to go. There's only 2 of them out there because they've been with me for 2 or 3 years. The rest of them are learning, and I'd say we're a little bit maybe ahead of where I thought we might be at this time. I don't want to lay it out there too far, but I've always had a thing like, if we're playing one of our conference schools, this is the furthest they've ever been. And if we're playing another school, this is the furthest they've ever been. Well, we're going out here. Well, I don't have them up to them other schools yet, but we're getting there. So their willingness to work hard. I thought coming off of spring break, this is usually a bad practice, but I thought as far as the group I had and stuff, I thought I was pretty well pleased with them today.
One more here. Do you feel like you've got to speed things up, because in the past it may take you 3 years to know a guy or 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Now you got to know him a lot faster.
Yeah.
Come out there and say,
Yeah. I mean, you know, you bring in 2 portal guys that are going to be seniors. You don't have much time to learn.
right.
You know, so I think we're smart and trying to keep things simple, and just let them execute and go play. You know, but as long as they work hard and stuff, I got no problem, and we're doing that.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.